getting logged in on Instagram really quick. So I'll give everybody a second to come on in. I lost my phone stand, so you may see me looking diagonal until I can find it. I have no idea where it is. I am, while everybody's coming in, I'm going to put a couple of links in the chat box because a couple of people on YouTube were telling me that they could not access the pest control guide that we offered for free. On Instagram, it is in the link in our bio, but a lot of people are telling me on Instagram that they cannot access it. So let me try and put the link in YouTube while I'm on live. We'll see how that goes. So just give me a second, and I'm giving everybody a chance to come in. Hello, hello, hello. I will move that YouTube in just a second. I know I just moved everything out of the way, but I want everyone to be able to access this free guide here. Hello, Jewel, how are you? So I'm going to try my best to put it in the chat. I hope it works because I'm doing everything like simultaneously. So y'all just give me a quick second to put the checklist in the, figure out how to put it in the chat. I think this may be it right here. So we'll go to YouTube and try to put it in the chat. So how are y'all doing on this Friday? Let me know in the comments. I saw where some bad weather is expected in the Gulf. So, you know, last weekend it was up north. This weekend is in the Gulf. So everyone just be careful wherever you are, because we want all of our gardening friends to definitely to be safe. But I see where it has been upgraded to a hurricane on the Gulf. So, okay, I think this is it, y'all. I think I can put it in here. So I'm going to put this in the chat on YouTube. Let's see if I can get it in there. I'm telling y'all, I am just like, and I don't want you to hear any feedback. So I am just like, you may hear a little bit of feedback. I don't want you to hear any feedback. Let's see. Okay, we'll mute it there. And let's see if I can put it in the chat. And we are going to get started. So first of all, happy Friday, everyone. Hello, Angela. How are you doing? Happy Friday. I just wanted to get on here real quick. Y'all know how I am when I say I just want to get on here real quick. I really do. I want to get on here real quick because this is not to make anyone feel bad, because what I'm about to say, I was there, and then not only was I there, but it's still certain things that I won't say I will never do, but it's got to be something. I don't know. So for my Instagram friends, I just put the free download. I wonder, can I pin it? I just put the free download in. Yep, we can pin it. The free pest control checklist download, and I pin that. So I just put that in there. So make sure you get that, because we had a lot of people telling us that they were unable to access it. And I know everyone doesn't use Instagram or, you know, just on certain platforms. So make sure you download that. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So we'll get some housekeeping out the way. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your day to join us. Make sure you text the word "Let's Grow" to 474747. That's "Let's Grow" to 474747. That way you can get notified when we go live, when we have specials, and then just all kind of stuff. And make sure you get on our email list as well, because sometimes I always don't have enough time to put everything out on the YouTube community tab or in the Instagram feed. But if you are on our text message list or on our email list, you are sure to get it. So make sure that you sign up for that as well. Now, what I wanted to talk about is pests, because what I will tell you, and let me try to switch this up, because if you see me looking, y'all, once again, I have lost my phone stand. I have no idea where it is. So you may see me looking just a little bit off today, but it's okay. I'll find it. I'll have to find it. Hello, Maureen. How are you? So this is what I want to tell you all is sometimes like I try to a lot of people they get discouraged and they get frustrated because they have pests. And this is what I want to tell you. This is all a part of gardening. I have pests right now that I battle with, but it's okay. The point is not to get overwhelmed or get frustrated. That is the point. So I had someone send me like a video and they had some herbs. They had some herbs that they were growing, and surely it was a pest because their leaves were like all ate up. I mean, they were ate up. I felt something getting in my throat, y'all. So they were all ate up. And so they sent me a message and said, okay, I think this is the culprit. What should I do? So this is what I want to tell you. I always say, try your best. You may not get it the first time. Hello, GT Junior grows it from Alaska. Hello, how are you from Alaska? So this is the thing. You may not be able to get it the first time. You may have to go out. You know, I've told y'all, you may have to go out at different parts of the day because a lot of the pests, they don't come out until night, you know, kind of like animals. They don't come out until night. And a lot of times you will not find them. Like I've caught some like daylight. I've made a recording on it. I've caught some daylight. But the person had put the camera on the pest, and it was an army worm, because they're local. They put the camera on the pest that was eating their leaves, and they were like, okay, now what should I do? And the reason why I wanted to make this is because I used to be very squeamish of just picking up worms, picking up different bugs and things like that. And I know a lot of people don't want to just flat out just get rid of the worm or anything like that. Like they don't want to kill it, you know, and I get it. Because some of the garden pests, if you look them up, some of the garden pests, like once they go through the full life cycle and turn into a butterfly, they really are pretty. They really are. Some of them are just moths, like they start as worms and then they end up as moths. But yeah, a lot of people just don't want to do that. So this is what I told her. I'm like, if you want to save that plant, you have got to get the worm off. Like you gotta touch it. You have got to get it off. And if you don't want to touch it, get like a paper towel, you know, so that it doesn't touch your actual skin, or put your garden gloves on, or get like a plastic bag so that it's like a barrier in beneath. But you have got to get it off. You cannot like look at it and say, this is it. And I don't want to get rid of it. What should I? You got to get it off of there, because there are some pests, the tomato hornworm, that will seriously decimate your plants in sometimes less than 24 to 48 hours. Like you will look and you will not have any leaves on your plant, and you need the leaves because you need that chlorophyll. Like you need that. And I know that we don't want to do it, but we have to. So if you don't just want to get rid of it, you got to find somebody who wants to touch it. You got to. You have to get it off. And then I always tell people to take it a step further. So 9 times out of 10, if you found that one, it's some more around there. It's probably made some eggs around there. Probably got some babies around there. You also want to go around the base of the plant, the perimeter of the soil, and just kind of scratch the surface a little bit. Go down a little bit to see if you see any more. But you have to. I'm not telling you that you have to touch it, because there's some things I will not touch. I'm not going to say I'll never touch, but right now I just don't feel comfortable touching, and I'm quite sure y'all will know what I'm talking about when I say I don't feel comfortable just picking it up and touching it. But you have to get rid of it, or you will not have a plant. in about 24 to 48 hours. And army worms will really do some damage to your plants. They will seriously eat your leaves, and they will get bigger and they will get bigger, and they will start to decimate your plant. So you just have to make, sometimes you have to say it's either them or it's the plant. And I'm quite sure all of us that are on here want our plants to come out on top. So you have to identify it if you can. But if you do, you have to, like, I think what her problem was is she just didn't want to touch it. So that's why, and she didn't want to get rid of it, and that's fine. You don't have to relocate it somewhere else. For example, we have a place every Wednesday. It's like a recycling pile. So if you have leaves, grass, debris, something like that, take it to the pile. Get you a mason jar with some soapy water. Put it in there. But the point is you have to get it off of that plant. And that's what I told her. Like, if you let that worm stay on the plant, you will not have any more time, because that was the herb she was growing. Time, you won't have any more time in about 24 hours, because the video, I mean, you could surely see him, and he was decimating those leaves, and y'all know how tiny thyme leaves are. Like, he was getting full off of those leaves. You have got to get it off of there. If you don't want to touch it, if y'all got kids, tell your kids to come get it off. Tell somebody to come and get it off. And I see Feathered Sunsets on here. One of the things she always tells us is, if you have chickens or something like that, feed it to the chickens. Give it to them. Great nutrients for them. It's satisfying to grab a squash bug in action. Yes, it is. We have been having Feathered Sunsets, a lot of squash bugs, and the squash bug nymphs. I've been noticing them on my tomatoes, and I'm just like, no, y'all not. Y'all thought you was, but you're not gonna do it. No, you're not. Like, I talk to the bugs. I talk to the pests. I'm like, oh, you thought you would not these tomatoes. I don't know. They're on my tomatoes this year. But yeah, you can, and I didn't even see your comment. And you said I didn't even see your comment before I looked. You said call the chickens over. That's right. Pick them off with some gloves. I will tell y'all, it gets easier. It gets easier with time. It used to be a time you could not get me to pick up a. Now, I don't know, when I was little, if y'all know about roly polies, I used to pick up the roly polies. They roll up in my hand. I had no problem with them, but it's a lot of pests. At first, I was just so squeamish, and I'll tell you another one. And these are like this is like a good one, but I didn't want to pick it up. The earthworm, you know how they start wiggling real quick? I would just like go crazy. But as time keeps going and you get used to a lot of things, you just like, it's like, it's nothing for me. The other night I went out to my holy basil, and I saw what was the cabbage looper. And again, y'all, for you're just joining, on Instagram, it's in my bio, but on YouTube, I pinned it to the comments. Make sure you download the link, because for the pest control checklist, because a lot of pests in your area, you want to know them. You want to know some of the pests in your area, so that way you can identify them, and then you know what to do, because it's no need of spraying or dusting or doing all of this stuff if you don't really know what you are trying to combat. Like, you see things happening to your plant, but you're not sure what it is that's doing it. Sometimes it's easy, other times you have to just continuously go out, do garden checks, look under the leaves, look around the soil, look at the base of the plant. Like, some are very hard. If y'all have been following me for a while on Instagram, I have put stories to where I have a headlamp on, and I will go out there at night, because a lot of pests that we have here in Georgia, they will not show their face. None you won't see them in the morning, you won't see them in the midday, you won't see them in the evening, but go out there at night. They just come out at night, and I don't know where they're hiding at, because I even go around the base of my soil during the day. I don't see anything. But let me go out with a headlamp at night. It's like they all come out and they are ready for feeding time. But it's so important that whatever you think it is, try your best to identify what it is first, because everything that we may do, it may not be useful for, like whatever we think that we may spray or we may dust or we may try to combat, it may not do any good if you're spraying or you're dusting for the wrong thing. And when I say dusting, y'all know we, as far as our vegetable, flower, and herb garden, we do organically. So when I say dusting, I mean like the diatomaceous earth. So if you are putting this down but you have a pest that doesn't phase, then you're really defeating the purpose. So you have to identify. But when you do, like, the best way to combat pests is if you can catch them in action, go ahead and get them off there. You don't even have to do all of that if you can just pick them off. Like, if you have Japanese beetles, a lot of times you just have to go out there with a mason jar and some soapy water and just start picking them off the plant and putting them in there. That's, to me, is like the best way to do it. But sometimes when things get like out of hand, out of control, then you have to go to step 2, or you may have to go to step 3. Like, it's different levels to gardening. Like, you start off at the most efficient way, which is picking them off. But just try. It does take time, okay? It takes time. It took me a while. It will take time for you to just go out there like it's nothing and just pick it off, especially if you're new. And then especially if you're like, I don't want to hurt them. You don't have to hurt them. You don't have to squish them. You don't. You don't have to do that. But you got to get them off of there or you won't have anything. Believe me when I tell you this. I had a tomato plant some seasons ago, and I kept looking for this tomato hornworm. I knew he was there, but he camouflaged himself so good. And I think on one of my videos where I showed you, I think on the video, I'm going to put a link for y'all to look at. It's the pest control blueprint. But I think on the video, that is my actual picture of my tomato plant a few seasons ago, where I kept knowing it was something wrong, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. And then, like, one evening I walked out there and literally everything was almost gone. It was just almost gone. I have been the same even as a kid, not a bug person. Now give me gloves and I'll do it, no problem. Right, exactly. Slug, that's right, slugs too. I'm glad you brought that up. Feathered sunsets. Slugs are another one, and they are slimy. And the snare is just, but now, like Feathered Sunset said, hey, because we have what is the slugs, which is the black slugs. They're really slimy. And I think I did do it on stories where one, after a whole bunch of rain about a week ago, it was so much rain, it was like at least 7 of them like corralled in a little circle. And I'm like, what is this all about? Where did all of these, I don't know if they hatched the night before or what, but the whole grass was just slimy and oh my gosh. But you know what I did? I got my gloves on, I got my black trash bag, and I put them, not my black trash bag, but like a grocery store bag. And I put them in there because I knew if I didn't get them, then they were going to ease their way up to my garden. And I don't know if any of you have a slug or a snail problem, but the slugs are really, really bad here. But you will know it's them because they don't just put the little tiny holes in the leaves. They take bites out, like chomps and bites of stuff. Like, they seriously, I have to, in the spring or the fall, when our strawberries are starting to produce fruit, like, I seriously have to go out there and put the beer traps in there because they will take bites out, like chomps of it, and you don't want that. And you have to, like, you gotta pick them up, you gotta get your bag, you gotta get your gloves, or either, like I said, until you get comfortable. I'm not saying go out there and just make your stress level go up. Okay. Hello, the stay at home mom. How are you? Hello, Sherry. How are you? Like, I'm not telling you, I don't want you to do anything that you feel uncomfortable doing, because some things can seriously like make people just have anxiety. So if you don't feel comfortable doing it, find somebody that does, or better yet, if it's something like a slug, like what we had the other week, like it was so many corralled. If you don't feel comfortable like touching them with gloves or putting them in a paper bag, honey, get you a shovel or something and shovel them up and put them in the trash, or put them wherever you want them to go. But I'm telling you right now, if you do not put them, get them out of the way, you will start to see big holes in your plants. You will see them, and they will eat your plant up, and you won't have anything. Angela said, "This is my first year dealing with slugs." Oh Lord, Angela, disgusting and eat my comfrey. Snails I can handle. Yeah, and a lot of people used to ask me for some snails and slugs. They're pretty much the same. It's the snails that have the hard shell on them. But I always knew about these snails. But the slugs, since we've been here, in coastal Georgia, I've never seen, like when I first saw them, I didn't even know like I had to go look it up, because I'm like, what in the world is this? And they are just, oh, and just the slime that they leave behind, or they leave a trail with, but the fact that they will decimate your plants. So it is so important for y'all, if you see something, get it off. I know you probably don't want to harm it. Share it. Yeah, I mean that's part of that's part of it. Okay, that's part of it. Okay, so the stay at home life is in the garden now. Oh, that's a good one. The stay at home life. We have grubs too. Now our grubs, like when I'm pulling certain plants up, the grubs here. Okay, so let me talk about the grubs real quick. I'm glad you brought that up. Like we have the moles. And the moles, the one that digs the tunnels and they make the ground soft. Now I'm just not, see, that's why I say you gotta do what you feel comfortable with. Now I'm not finna go digging a trail and putting a trap in, because a mole is something I don't know if I could handle. And that's why I said, if you know you can't handle, find somebody that can. I've seen the pictures of the moles. I've talked to people of the moles, but the moles, they're after like the grubs, they're after the mole crickets. So a lot of times I will pull a plant and notice, I did this the other day. I pulled up some plants and we had the grubs in there. Now I'm not too I'm okay. I'm not squeamish with the grubs, but you have to be careful of them, because they can and will eat the roots of your plants. So they're a little bit harder to catch than the actual worms, but they can do damage. So that's why it's important. And we're all going to have it. So I don't want anyone to feel like, what am I doing wrong? I don't know what's going on. Don't It's part of it's part of nature. It's part of the system. A lot of the butterflies, a lot of the moths that you see that are beautiful, they're going around to your plants and they're laying eggs. But just so happen that some of those eggs turn into the different worms, and they will nibble on your plants. So that's why I said, just, you don't have to harm them if you don't want to, but just relocate them. If you want your plant, relocate them off of your plant. I'm going to get some beneficial nematodes. Those are good as well to the stay-at-home life, especially down under that soil like that. But we just have to. We can't let the pests take over. We just can't, because they will do some damage. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes that they will do damage. And a lot of times, to some people, it's just like they get so overwhelmed. I've talked to these people. They get so overwhelmed where they just want to quit. But that's just all a part of like the nature cycle, the life cycle. But what I will tell you is, if you get it up under control, then you will feel a whole lot better. You just get it up under control. And that's why I always tell people with pests, Even if you do some type of maintenance, pest maintenance, it's not a one and done. You have to constantly check your plants to make sure that you see the population decreasing or you see them gone. But this is what I want to tell y'all before I end, okay? A lot of time the pests can tell us, I always say, feed your soil, the health of your soil. Make sure your soil is healthy. When your soil is healthy, then the plants will thank you for it. But a lot of times what I tell people is with different pests, take that as an indicator, okay? Because a lot of times when your soil may not be like you want to, then that's when you'll see a lot of pest pressure in your garden. So it's very important that we build our soil up, because once we start building our soil, and the reason why I'm saying this is because in our older part of the garden, I really don't, y'all. I don't see as many pests as I do like in the newer part. But that's something new. We're starting to build our soil up, but a lot of times the pests can kind of tell us what's going on. So just take it as a message and work on building your soil, but also make sure that you're just like constantly monitoring these things. Like, it is not, I'm telling y'all, it's not a one and done. And just like I was saying with feathered sunsets, we have the squash bugs on the tomatoes, okay? I didn't even grow squash this year. And we have the squash bug nymphs on our tomatoes, but that's like the new part of the garden, and I'm monitoring it. I'm going to make sure I get my soil tested, because it's okay that they're there. I don't want them there, but what I do, and I always tell y'all, is levels, okay? So if you can, pick it off. Get somebody to pick it off, get it off of there. My next level is use your water, use the water sprayer if you can. Get them off of there. Always check under your leaves. Always check around the base of the plant, around the soil. But then the next level, you may have to keep going and going and going. But the main thing you need to do is like constantly monitor it. Just don't do it one time and think they're all going to go away, because those pests may have laid eggs, and now the eggs are starting to emerge, and so now you got another problem. Like, you have to put it in your part of your routine. And we've talked about this before. When you're gardening, develop a routine, develop what you can handle. What you may can handle in your workload, I may can't handle. But it's certain days where I do certain things. Certain times of the day, I'll go do a walkthrough. Certain times after it rains, I will go and check on things, because you have to keep your eye on this. And the reason why I say that, because if something does start happening to your garden, you have like a time gauge. So you can say, I walked out here 2 days ago and this wasn't like this. So you can say, okay, 2 days ago it wasn't like this. So it may be like at the beginning stages, and you can catch it just like that. But you have to like, you can't. This is what I tell everyone who's looking to garden, grow a garden. You can't plant it and just leave it. You can't plant anything and just walk away and just say grow. Like, you have to nurture it. You have to nurture it. You have to check on it, and you have to constantly do that. But I'm not saying get overwhelmed. Develop you a routine, because once you develop that routine, then you will feel so much better. You won't feel overwhelmed with things. Like I told y'all, Monday, if everything's going good, that's the day I go out to the old part of the garden, and I'll do, my liquid feed or something like that every other Monday, or every Friday or Saturday I'll do my weeding, things like that, so that you're doing little things so that everything doesn't pile up on you. But what I will tell you, if you can, try to do your garden walks every day. It doesn't take long, because if you do them consistently, then when something happens, you'll see it and you'll know it then and there. Something's not right. It wasn't like that yesterday. It wasn't like that 2 days ago. And that way you can start checking and seeing what is going on. I know. Feathered Sun says, let me tell you, I think about chickens all the time. I do. Um, we've started our fall gardening. Like I've started my seeds inside. And I'm quite sure you've been looking at the stories. I'm getting there. I'm telling you, I'm getting there with the chickens, y'all. Feathered Sunsets, y'all make sure you follow her because she has provided me so much information. She knows I want to get chickens, but um, I'm getting prepped. I am getting prepped up because I think it is. I think I need them. I do. I just want to have them like the right place, in the right place, not two house and the greenhouse. Okay, so the stay at home life. Make sure you follow her too because we've been talking about, and she's so sweet. And thank you so much to stay at home life. Like she's been tagging me with some beautiful greenhouses. I just got to get the like the chickens and I just gotta find the perfect location. Now, let me tell you, I'm gonna stop talking about that because I know somebody has some antennas up and they're listening in. Okay, so we gonna we gonna change the subject. Yes, Sherry, some real chickens, some real ones. I'm telling y'all, some very real chickens. I think it'll be good. I think it will be so good just for the eggs. Now that's what I want them for, like just for the eggs. Um, just maybe three or four. Okay, so Feathered Sunsets is getting three more this weekend. Maybe three or four. Just to see, just to see. Yes, exactly. To stay at home, like fresh eggs. You know what they were fed. Yeah, I think that'll be good. I think that'll be good. That'll be good training for me. Um Tiffany Strangeberg. Okay, oh my god, I'm so glad for this topic. I live on a tiny island shut off from the mainland and suddenly I have rats. Ooh. Mm. Let me tell y'all. Let me tell y'all. Now the rats scare me. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I think let me tell y'all, when we stayed in Okinawa, it would just be rats like running along the streets. And they were big too. Yeah, the rats, I'm scared. I think one got in the house before too. Yeah, I'm bless you. That's all I could say. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that would see that, and that's why I said, y'all heard me at the beginning, don't get overwhelmed. And it's some different pests, it's some different animals that I'm just not there yet. Okay, I don't ever want to say never ever. You never want to say never because you don't know what may happen, but it's certain things that I'm just not comfortable with and I'm just not there yet. But I don't want to get like too acquainted. Not it definitely not with rats. Oh my gosh. My tomatoes had a plague of aphids. Oh, yeah. I decided to leave them to see what happens. I ended up having the most ladybugs I've ever seen. Sometimes nature works itself out. Thanks for saying that, Dante, because that's why I say the ecosystem and the nature. Like sometimes when your soil is right, everything is right, because that, to be honest, I'm really glad Dante said that because that's really, really, really what we want when it's all said and done. We really want nature to come in and take care of all of this, okay? Like, like he said, he had aphids and then the ladybugs came in. That is really what's supposed to happen. um like when we have worms, now the birds will eat my strawberries, but I'm like, hey, go find the worms and you eat that. That's how nature is supposed to work. But I guess they say the strawberry is a little bit too sweet for the worms right now. But that is really how we when we have pests, we really want the beneficial insects, like your lacewing, like your praying mantis, ladybugs. We really want them to come in and do the work. So just by you saying that, that lets me know that your setup is working, like everything is working itself out, because that is really what's supposed to happen. Is the beneficial insects are supposed to come in and that is food for them. It's like the circle of life. So thank you so much for sharing that right there. So that was good, and you didn't even have to do it. And Tiffany Strangebird Brown say chickens are fun. Chickens are fun. Um, yeah, Sherry, and see, Sherry, that's the other thing. Um, I am going to get it, and then like if they say no, ask for forgiveness later. So Sherry, she said I'm gonna get thrown out the neighborhood. But if you have hens, like they don't make noise. It's the rooster that makes all the noise. So nobody will ever know. So you just do it, and then you just say, I didn't know we couldn't, and the stay-at-home life says she want a baby goat. Yes, 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 yes. Um, for okay, let me go back on YouTube. Feathered Sunsets. So Tiffany Strangebird Brown. The question on Instagram was asked: Do you have livestock? Do you have livestock? Is the reason why she was asking about the rats. My sister chickens keep escaping into her neighbor's yard. We have that happen all the time here, y'all. Okay. Nope, she just has cats and dogs. Feathered Sunsets. No livestock, just cats and dogs. But I can. My squash died, broke my heart. I think I overwatered them. That can happen too. Um, I was going to tell you, Sherry, if you haven't thrown the plant away, cut the stem. Cut the stem inside and see if you see something. And the only reason why I'm telling you that is because I've noticed. I've noticed here in the southeast, Georgia. I know you're in Alabama. I have noticed that we have a tremendous problem with squash vine borers. Hence, which is why I didn't grow squash this year. Hence, which is why I still had the squash bugs. I just that is that is why I tell people gardening is a journey. That is one plant that I have grown before, but it's not consecutive seasons. It's like one season it'll do fantastic. I can get a hold on the problem, and then the next two seasons they start off good, and then they have the squash vine borers just take over. And I remember telling y'all the story of what somebody told me to do, but I won't do that because we garden organically. I will not do it, so I just won't have squash. I'll just have to go like to the farmer's market, or I will have to go buy organic squash because I will not do what they told me to do. I did it that one time and I just felt so bad, and I said I will never do that again. But I was going to, yeah, if you haven't, just out of curiosity, break open one of those stems and see, because if your squash started to look limp, and it may not been from you overwatering it, if it's starting to look limp, if you look inside the stem, you may see some squash vine borers. You just may, because you may be in an area too where it just, I don't know. All of my northern gardeners, honey, they are growing that squash and they're putting the pictures on, and they look so good. They're growing the zucchini and they're putting the pictures on, and it just looks so good. But I'm not going to give up, and I am going to grow squash. If I have to keep it under a net and only like let it open for a few hours a day for the bees and the butterflies and everybody to get in to pollinate it, I'll just have to do that. But I'm going to grow it. I'm going to grow it. I brought praying mantis this year. No clue where they went. Getting more next year. And ladybug. Yeah, praying mantis is a good beneficial insect. I have watched them like in action on some of the videos. Yeah, they show no mercy. The cats eat the rats. Yes, the cats eat the rats and they eat the snakes too. We had a cat in our yard last night. I think somewhere around the neighborhood some kittens were born. Was going to say maybe the feed is attracting them, but maybe a barn cat or two. Yeah. Yep. No more squash for me. I'll check. Yeah. My zucchini did the same. No bugs, but it literally just stopped growing. Last year mine lasted until October. I'm telling y'all with the squash and zucchini. So if y'all, for all of my squash and zucchini growers, y'all got to let us know the secret. Because the squash vine borers for us here in the South, I don't know. Okay, so Tiffany Strangebird Brown said, I keep the cats for the snakes. I have no snakes. I will attest to that. The cats do keep the snakes away, because I saw the same cat that was over here in the backyard yesterday. I saw him today under, like, in the neighbor's yard, and it's like a palm tree, but one of the lower palm trees. And I saw him just like creeping. I'm like, mm. I wonder what he is. You know how they go like real slow. So he was after something, but you know what I did? I went in the house and I closed the garage down because I didn't want to see it, whatever it was. Whatever it was, I didn't want to see what was about to happen next. So I just pressed the button and closed the garage down. I was like, but I'm okay now. Let me tell you about with cat. I'm okay with them. Um, as long as they, just keep the stuff around and don't start digging up my plants. Now, if you start digging up my plants, I get upset. But for the most part, I'm okay with the cats because I think I've told y'all this story before. When we had some next door neighbors, they had a cat, and they stayed here for 3 years. And when I tell y'all those 3 years, and he would come in this yard and hang out on the patio, like he stayed here, and he would scare me because I would walk out. You don't expect, like, I don't have any animals, so I didn't expect any, but he just be staring at me, and then he just like take off running. But for 3 years we had no snakes. I will say that. So I will say that the cats are good. They are good for that. I will say that. Let's see what we have. My LE squash that taken out by the board. They were supposed to be resistant to the crazy. Okay, and Angela, I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of they do have different varieties of squash that are supposed to like deter the squash vine borer, or not be as bad. But Angela said that hers still got hers still got taken out too. Yeah, maybe I can look for a variety where it's not as bad because they start off growing so pretty. I get excited. I have the blooms. Lemon squash. Okay, lemon squash. You see the blooms growing and you're like, okay, yes, I see the bees. They're pollinating. I got, because a lot of people have problem with squash, because one thing I will tell you, it seems like the male blossoms come all at once and they start getting worried because they don't have the female blossoms, because the females are the ones that make the squash fruit. But like, we'll have the male, the bees, and everything's looking good, and you'll start to see, like, I'll start to see the squash and the zucchini grow, and then about a few days later, I start to see my stems get limp, and I'm like, so I go out there and I try to hurry up and dig out what I can. But what someone did tell me is they don't like mint. So if you have like a peppermint oil, to put that around them, or um, because y'all know mint is very aggressive, it will take over. So what I suggest is like put mint in a pot and then put it by the squash so that it doesn't like take over, because once mint starts to grow, because it grows from like underneath the rhizomes, it's hard to control. It will take over. Mint will take over. All of our mint we grow in a pot. I will not grow that in the ground unless one day I just want a whole backyard full of mint, because that's exactly what it will do. But I have heard that like the peppermint oil is good. But when you think about the peppermint oil, you'll probably have to keep reapplying it, especially when it rains. But that's something to take into consideration. That's something I was going to try to do, just because I like to saute squash and zucchini. Okay. So I have used plastic forks to keep cats out of the flowers. It kind of works. And I have seen that too, where they put like the forks up so they can't like get into that. I have seen that, and a lot of people have said that has worked too. And that's why I say I'm okay, just as long as you don't start like tearing, digging, messing up, and things like that. I'm okay with it. But I thank y'all for joining me. I just had to get on and do this because I know it's a lot of people that really feel uncomfortable touching pests, especially if you're beginning, especially if you're starting out. It's very squeamish. I know I have like, sometimes I've had to close my eyes and just go in that direction, that. And then you know how you jump and you do little jumps and stuff like that because you're like, oh my gosh. But I will tell you, it gets easier. If I see a worm, no problem. Now, I talk to them. I even talk to the worms. I say, "Oh, you thought? No, you didn't think that you was gonna come here and start eating the leaves of my plant, because you're not gonna do it, not today." And then I send them off, and I say, "Tell your friends if you got some down there, they're gonna get the same thing too. So don't try it." So it just gets easier over time, but just get them off the plant. If you don't, if you want your leaves, if you want your plant, if you want your fruit, whatever you're growing, get them off as soon as you can. Check around the base of your plant, do garden walks, go out at different times, and then also check the soil, because if they've laid babies, then the babies are on the way. So, with that said, thank you all for taking time out of your Friday to join us. Again, make sure you text the word "Let's Grow" to 474747 to be notified when we go live, to get on our email list, when we have specials, when we drop the YouTube videos. We're getting into making more YouTube videos because we're doing our fall gardening. And on YouTube, I've pinned the comment. I've pinned the free garden checklist in the on the live. Instagram, go click the link in my bio and get it. Get the free garden pest checklist. Just some simple things that you can do to kind of decrease the population of pests that you have. So make sure you click on that link. No problem, Julia. Thank you so much for joining us. And yes, y'all be safe this weekend. Stay safe. We just put out a video on YouTube about protecting yourself. And when I say yourself, that means your body and the garden, because I'm very guilty of the things that I talk about on the video, but I'm getting better. As a matter of fact, my body is telling me, get up and do what you're supposed to do, okay? So with that said, you all have a good weekend. Make sure you join us Monday, if everything goes great, at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if y'all have any questions, make sure you reach out to me, DM me, email me, and we can talk about it on some of the chats. And I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. So y'all be safe, and we'll talk again soon. Bye, y'all.